to anything Joe says. How many what? Oh no, don't worry about it. There are about 3 feet, 2.5 feet in a meter.
Okay, thank you.
2.5 feet in a meter. Oh my God, people are. Here, I'll just put this. 15 feet. So what do you want? Are we done? How many people? Hurry up. No, I saw you coming late. Once I say the answer, how many people want to change the answer if I made it 5 inches? How many people want to change the answer? Too late. Come on,
really doesn't
people.
matter if you change the units.
Can you walk a little faster? What's the answer to number 2? The girl back there, you better hurry up. You got to start running. Someone put up their hand. Who has never put up their hand before? You. You have to whisper. She's still writing the answer. Well, first of all, is 5, okay, let's go to 3. Is 5 feet far away from a bird nest? Okay, so what would she do? Hurry up! All right, it's too late. Come on. What's the answer for number 3? All right, now you can say, what's the answer to number 3? Everybody shout it out. Da. Is she going to go far. These obsessed people, all right? So will the gray-line goose get up and reach it? Why not?
Because there's too much cost.
There's too much cost. And will, naturally, over evolutionary time, will that huge oblong egg, oh my God.
That's an egg.
Oh my God. All right, there's the egg. Will it roll 5 feet away? Honestly, if it did, is it worth it for the male or the female to get up? No. All right, so that's the answer. What now comes? There are more than one reason why the female house finch picks the reddest male. Someone give me one reason. Put up a hand that you've never got there.
It can indicate a higher sense of immunity.
Higher sense of higher immune response. Not a sense. Oh, I sense immunity, right? Yes, and they proved it by showing that if you infect all the males with this mycoplasma, the ones that were reddest got over the infection the fastest. And you want that because you're all in the nest together with the female and the chicks and everything, right? What's another reason?
Redder males provide more parental care.
I know. How many redheads are here? So there are no males here, ladies. Do not mate with anybody here, all right? For whatever reason, the males that are reddest provide the most bi-parental care. Bi means male and female together, bi, all right? Now, why do you think these males provide more care? What is it about them? I know it's not in the answer, but I'm just asking. What do you think it is? Exactly. They're willing to forage far, so that means they must have other traits. Good eyesight, right? Good, what's in here? Not my dress. What is it? My heart, good wings, good predator avoidance, and the willingness to go, oh my God, I see something over there, I better go investigate. All of that all links together. What's the last potential reason? Or is there no other potential reason? Huh? No, I'm ignoring that. There's no hotter, okay? That's anthropomorphic. It's like, resource, love. No, not hotter. What is it?
Preference, because their parents probably also pick the redder one.
Yes, the females pick the redder. We're going to talk more about this, but you got to remember that males and females have the same genetic suite of DNA, right? We're half our father, half our mother. But in the males, there are certain traits that are going to be passed down to their who? Yes, their sons, their male offspring. And then there are specific gene traits that the females are going to pass to their female offspring, right? This is very, very different. So it doesn't matter if the female has a big heart or not big heart or whatever. She has been passed down that she needs to have a choice, pick the redder male, right? The males, on the other hand, are going like, I don't have to do anything, that's fine, right? No, you need to go have other traits that allows you to get more carotenoid so that you're redder. So these are the big differences, and we're going to talk a lot about this today. Today, you know how the title of this course is really Food, Sex, and Death. It's all about sex. But there's a lot of, not death, but very depression among the males, all right? So this is a study. Oh, before I do this, no, let me do something else first. Oh, I'll do this first. So this is a study I just read about last week. These are house finches. What's the difference between, these are the same males. What's the difference between those two males? Anybody tell me just the visual difference between those two males? Right. Which one is more colorful?
The one on the right.
So it turns out, this is a really interesting study because the whole purpose of this course is not just behavior, but it's the linking to ecology and evolution. Because everything is about ecology and evolution. So these are the same species in Sweden. One is found in the city and one is found in a rural area. All right, everybody got this? So, again, house finches, do they look for carotenoid foods, the males, across the world? What's the answer? Yes. But if there aren't any, Will they start eating? No, right? Now remember, when the Dr. Hill did the study, he did it in 2 different areas. One was in Alabama and one was somewhere else. And he did it because in both those areas they had different amounts of carotenoid food. So in different areas in the same species, the females are going to say, I'm looking for something. So they're going to adapt over time. If the female is looking for red, they're not going to mate at all with either of these. But the females there will make a choice. And so guess what they found? So first of all, in an urban setting like New York City or Malmar, where the Sweden, there are very few carotenoid-containing plants because you're in New York City. You're walking down Broadway, you're not going to see bushes with red berries, right? If you go to Piscataway or where you live or Highland Park, people have bushes and they have red berries. Those house finches living there going, oh my God, red berries, and they turn all red, right? These are the same species. So what they found, though, was that in the urban area, they are darker and duller in color. And they have higher reproductive survival and reproductive success than other males that are not as dark. So the darker ones, excuse me, the darker, not the redder ones, the darker ones have increased survival and increased fitness and reproductive success. So guess why? Anybody want to guess? You'll never guess, but I'm going to ask you to guess anyway. What the hell, right? You can amuse me. I go home and tell my husband all the silly things you guys say to me. Anybody want to guess? I'll tell you why. Yes? Not quite. No, that's a good guess, but there aren't that many predators in a huge city. All right, in a big New York City. Yes, there are hawks, but you're a house finch. All right. So guess what you find in a city versus in a rural area. All right. What you find in a city is a lot of hazardous chemicals. Right. Car pollution. People are throwing all kinds of stuff. So what they found in the urban area is a lot of hazardous chemicals that are very, very toxic, right? So it turns out that the birds that have more melanin, what happens when you have a lot of melanin? What color do you become? What shade do you become?
Black.
Darker, right? So it turns out the birds that have more melanin, they tend to be darker. That's what melanin does. So everybody knows how melanin protects you from UV radiation, right? Does everybody know? Yes, how? You nodded. Don't nod. Tell me how.
It's free.
No. Good answer. Don't ever nod again. Does anybody know? So it turns out that when you have cells, not all of us are given or inherited a set amount of melanin. Some people have more, some people have less. But the melanin in your cells, when they're exposed to UV radiation like all summer, all the melanin conglomerates around the nucleus. Why does it do that? What is it protecting? The DNA, exactly. So you have a cell, you have your nucleus. I'm going to draw melanin as red because I started off with black. When you get exposed to UV radiation, instead of being scattered throughout the cell, they all conglomerate around the nucleus to protect the DNA. When they all conglomerate, your cell becomes darker. So instead of the thing, it's like putting one drop of red dye all over your beaker. They still look like a big beaker of clear water. But if you let all the red dye settle, all the bottom becomes red. So when it condensed together, you get tanned, right? Did anybody get tanned this summer? Yes, exactly. So after a while, after it gets to the winter, all the melanin goes, oh, well, okay, we don't need it anymore. They scatter back out. So it turns out more melanin helps, what's the word I want to use? That's the word I want to use. Helps store the chemicals, all hazardous chemicals in the feathers? I know I'm famous, but who's taking me? All right. So the melanin in those feathers store and pick up, or you can say pick up, all these hazardous chemicals that you always find in the city with all the pollution and all the heavy metals and everything. It stores it in the feather. Is it better to store it in your feather or store it in your organs? Feathers, exactly. So, versus organs, because if you store those heavy chemicals in your organs, that bird is going to die. So, they become duller and they become darker, but the end result is they have increased survival because those chemicals are in the feathers versus their organs. So in these cases, are the females in the urban area, they did a study in Malmö, Sweden, and in Phoenix. In those cases, what did the females in the urban area look for? Faith, you're itching to tell me.
Darker nails.
Exactly, right? So you gotta understand, you have to take, you take the animal species, they look for something, they see something across the world, it's still the house finch, but they have to adapt to the area. We're living here. If we went to the middle of the Sahara Desert, we would not be dressed like this, all right? You have to adapt. So whatever happens in the Sahara Desert stays in the Sahara Desert. What happens in Phoenix stays in Phoenix. What happens here. So all these animals are adapting. Cities have been around for decades, hundreds of years. They've been big cities. Whenever you have a city in the old days, they cut down all the trees and they put up buildings and roads. Now in New York, they're trying to plant trees, but they're not planting trees that have carotenoid foods. So you gotta remember, ultimately, the ecology plays a role and the evolutionary adaptation of the males and the females, right? So you know what they did? I'm not gonna write it down, but they took a chick from an urban area and they took a chick from the rural area, 2 days old, and they swapped them in nests. What happened to the rural chick that grew up in the urban area? I say that fast. Rural chick in the urban area. What color did it become? Darker. What happened to the urban chick that grew up in the rural area? It became redder or yellower or whatever it is, right? So these things are adapted. And the thing about it is that the males have to present a trait because why? Because the female wants that trait, which is what we're going to talk about in sexual selection. All right. The last thing I have to say before we get into sexual selection that I didn't get to say last week was umwelt. Does anybody know what an umwelt is? Has anybody observed an umwelt? Has anybody been part of an umwelt? The answer is yes to all of it, all right? Umwelt is a German term for environment. It was proposed by a behavioral ethologist called Jacob von Uxel. All right. So what he's saying, so you guys are still thinking of very anthropomorphic, is that each organism, each species looks on the environment different from us. All right. I don't know if you guys ever seen videos of what we see when we see a forest, and what a butterfly sees when it sees a forest, or a bee. Is it the same? No. Especially if you look at a nocturnal moth. In the forest we see green and lush and some flowers. At night we see nothing because it's dark, right? The moth sees all those fluorescing things that are meant to be seen at night. In the daytime they look at nothing, but at night they fluoresce. So umwelt is the view of the animal. So when I give you an example of the gray-line goose, it is not thinking, oh my God, I think it's repeating Tim Berger's experiment. No, the bird, the gray-line goose, is looking around, and anything in its purview that looks even a little bit big, it's going to bring into the nest, right? That's its own well. So I'll give you an example. Does anybody know what a tick is? Is everybody avoided ticks? Why are ticks bad? Exactly, ticks. What is the tick's own wealth? Three things, and three things only. Remember, what is the tick's view of the world, not your view of the world, all right? The tick's view of the world is this. Butyric acid. It has a sensor on its antenna to sense butyric acid, all right? You're going to say, what the hell is butyric acid? Anybody from Oregon know what butyric acid comes from? No, you guys all fail. It's secreted by mammalian sebaceous glands. Someone tell me, where is your sebaceous glands? Point to it. Yes, all over. So ticks require certain mammal hosts, mice, deer, and us by accident, and dogs and whatever. Are all those animals I just said mammals? Do they have sebaceous glands? Yes. All right. The second thing they're in their world of sensing is warmth. So that is body temperature. Yes. How else does the tick leap onto my dog? The dog is warm. The next thing it's looking for is hair. You brush past it, you sit on a log, the hair of the dog, the hair of the mouse, the hair of the deer, all that kind of stuff. They climb onto it and then they crawl down the hair and they latch on. Those are the only three things in the world of the ticks, all right? Let me ask you, does a tick care that is sitting on a leaf? Does a tick care that is sitting on a log, that you're going to sit on the log and it's going to climb onto you? Does a tick care that you're wearing white clothing so you can see the thing? No. Those are our views of, oh my God, let's wear something white so you can see the black tick. Put my socks over my pants, because I've done tick research, and you take your socks, right? You wear long sleeve. Gosh, do I still have hair? Yes. Do I still have sebaceous glands? Yes. Am I still warm? Yes. Right? So I had an undergrad who was working out in the Pine Barrens, and she said she put the socks over her pants, taped it, but she had to wear short sleeves because it was hot. But she didn't tuck her shirt into her pants. They crawled up the pants and bit her all around the waist. Right? Because what? Wait a minute, she's got sebaceous gland. She's warm. And there are hair things that she can caught onto on her socks, all right? Those are the three things that a tick's world is, not our world, right? So it doesn't matter, you're gonna say, I'm gonna walk in the middle, I'm gonna be fine. Well, maybe, maybe not. Does everybody understand? So when we get into sexual selection, you can't say, oh, the male is hot, oh, the female's got nice little, whatever. Those don't count, because that's not what the bird sees, or the fish sees, or the insect sees, all right? Let me show you the umwelt of the tick. All right, this is the view of a honeybee. You see the bee here? I could draw a better bee than this. All right? This is what we see, and I know lots of bee researchers see out there. They go out to a patch, they stand in a spot, and they count how many minutes a bee comes to that flower. Then after a certain amount of time, they go to another spot. One of my TAs is a bee researcher, right? But this is the umwelt. So this is the umwelt of the human, and this is the umwelt of the bee. Does the bee see any of this stuff? No. It sees only certain things that are very, very important. The color, the information given by another bee saying, psst, it's over there. Okay, we'll all go there. That's Jacob, sitting out, obviously getting ready to get bitten by ticks. They probably didn't have ticks back then. So you gotta remember, when we talk about sexual selection and everything, you're talking from the view of that animal, that male and that female, all right? Everybody got it? All right, let's go. Let's go to sexual selection. People are yawning and we're talking about sex. How can that be? The first person who really, really thought about this was, of course, Darwin. I know. Can you imagine in 1871 you talk about sex? You whisper it in the closet somewhere, right? He wrote a book called, not The Origin of the Species, called The Descent of Man and Selection in Relation to Sex. Has anybody heard of that book? I know, nobody ever has, but it's got the word sex in it, people. I remember no, I'm not going to tell you this story. So the problem, the biggest issue for Darwin was one animal species. Anybody want to guess? It just pissed him off that this animal species, the male, existed in that state. Anybody want to guess what that animal species is? Huh? Human? We're talking about humans. We're not going to talk about, no, not humans. Do you want me to draw it? Everybody says. What did I just draw fabulously? Peacock. He could not understand how the male peacock was alive and looked like this. All right? What does the female look like? Right? So, let me ask you before we jump on. This is what pissed him off because he couldn't resolve it unless he came up with sexual selection. Would natural selection favor this object? Can the male peacock fly? Can the male peacock run away from a predator like a fox or wolf? Can the male peacock fly away from a predator like a fox or a wolf or a bear? No, all right? Is the male peacock extremely attractive visually to other animals and us? So, that's all about predation, death. Can it avoid a car? No. So why does it exist? Why does it exist? Why do males exist? I've always thought there should be a couple of males in a closet, and then when the female is ready to mate, you let one out, all right? And then you put them back in the closet. So why does this exist? Why he had to come up with sexual selection? Because it is not worth it. It cannot fight anything. It cannot fight a predator. It cannot run. It's not going to help you make a nest. It's got a whacking huge feather, all right? So why do they exist? Someone tell me. You guys all know the answer. Why do they exist?
For the females.
That's what the females want.
That's what the female wants. Okay. See, this is why it's a women's studies course, right? It's what the female wants, all right? So how can that be? How can you now have a situation where natural selection is now not equal to sexual selection? Natural selection says you cannot have this. You should not have this because they would have been killed. If this was a mutation millions of years ago, they would have been eaten by a T-Rex. Male feather, all right? Because it can't do it, it cannot do many, many, many things, all right? But yet they exist for one sole reason: the female wants it, all right? So this is a huge disparity, this is a huge dichotomy between what natural selections should evolve to versus sexual selection, which I'm going to get into. All right, everybody understand what's going on? So there's a huge thing. That's why he had to write a book, because he could not understand why. And this is just the one big one. There are many many species where the males are ridiculously large, ridiculously feathered. I'll show you a picture. Does anybody know what a bird of paradise look like? Yes? No? Yes? So they have a regular body, and their tail is like 10 feet. It's like, hi, back of the tail, right? That is not going to allow you to avoid a hawk that's going to eat you, all right? You can't have a bird where you have a tree, and these are the branches, and the bird is here. And there's the tail feather. You're going like, wow, that was really successful. Why are you here, all right? So, he came up with 2 reasons for sexual selection. Or 2 distinct and potentially opposing evolutionary mechanism at work. One is called the law of battle. Anybody want to guess what the law of battle is? I'm going to give it to you because you guys are going to know. Okay. It's the struggle between individuals of one sex. Generally, which one? Anybody want to guess? Males. Generally males. For sexual control over individuals of the other sex. Generally, what you'll see, it's called male interactions. Has anybody ever watched a documentary on animals? Yes. Often, what do they show you? 2 males fighting, am I right? Yes. 2 elks, 2 gorillas, 2 elephant seals. I'll show you some videos, because they're going like 2 gorillas. That's why I wore my woolly mammoth, all right? So these are male-male interaction. The winner gets who? The winner gets all the females, all right? Here, winner gets all the female. And when I mean all, I don't mean all of the population, but a lot. Loser gets what? What's the word I'm looking for? Nothing. All right? Another way of thinking about the law of battle is it's the evolution of armament. What does armament mean? Anybody? Exactly. She says horns. Someone tell me what's another example of armament. Horns. Did you say feathers?
Yeah.
Ah, you tickling me. No. Claws. Oh, beak. Claws. Talons. Does anybody know what talons are? Another one. Something else. Antlers. Oh. All right. No, it's only good for my purse. No, not leathery skin.
Like teeth, like
Fangs! Let's not go away with teeth, all right? Fangs. What other ornament are we talking about? Quills? Quills. It's not a great ornament. No. You know why? I can hide poison anywhere. Can you see poison on me? I have it in my pocket. Yes, I do. Trust me. Because I can give you an F. That's my poison. You can't show poison. You can't say, I am poisonous. Yeah, you can with coloration. No. Armament means something else. There's one other big thing that nobody talked about. Well, two things you haven't talked about.
shell.
Size. On average, teenage males of a species, are they the same size as an alpha male? No. What's another thing that you guys have not talked about?
Aggressiveness.
Did I start right or did I do two G's? I can't spell a capital letter. Aggression. Massive amount of testosterone. Don't come near me, you ass, okay? I'll beat you up, all right? So all of these things are part of male-male interactions, right? I'm the big, have you ever seen what a silverback gorilla is who's an alpha male? They're huge. They're huge, huge, huge. They have the silverback. Any young male, they don't have the silverback. They go, okay, let's go fight. Oh, no, okay, it's all right. One little punch, goodbye. I'll see you later in another 3 years, all right? These two things, this thing specifically is, oh, come on, is related to sexual dimorphism. People always think sexual dimorphism is the sexual organs. It is not. Males have always got those sexual organs. Females always have their own sexual organ. Sexual dimorphism is the difference in size between the male and the female. Has anybody seen moose and elks? The males are huge. They also have huge wax antlers. Are the female moose, the cows, are they as big? No. Has anybody seen pictures of silverback gorillas? How big are the female gorillas? Right? So part of being the law of battle, when you have this kind of interaction where it's male-male, they fight it out and all the female goes with the winner, is that you have to have these suite of traits. You have to be really big, you have to be really aggressive, and you have to have lots and lots of armaments, all right? All right. So in these, the second part is, what did I call it? 1, 2, yes. 2 is the law, the taste for beautiful. We all love the beautiful, don't we? Yes. Process by which members of one sex, anybody want to guess which sex it is? Yes, generally female, choose their mates based on some innate preference. All right? Another way of putting this is what? Female sexism is rampant everywhere, but it's also among behaviorists, all right? You can go and do research on male-male interaction and you're just gonna get like a zillion Google hits from a long time ago. Men were going like, oh, look at those two girls, and write it all down, right? It took them forever until well into the 1960s when these ethologists said, oh shit, I think this is female mate choice, right? In the house finch, is it female mate choice? Yes or no? Are the two male finches fighting each other and then they get the female? No. The female picks all, I led you into it. You guys sucker fell in already. Because in all the experiments, they put a red male and a less red male, and what do they put in front of them? The female. The female goes, I'll take you. That's female mate choice. So it is her preference, and the male bloody well better have the traits. Because if that male doesn't have it, will he get lucky? Will he mate? No. It doesn't matter if there are actually many cases where the female does not like the male, she will forego mating that season and wait. Because why am I picking a male that doesn't have the trait that I think is very, very, very important, right? I'm not going to waste the energy, all right? So this is female mate choice. It is much, much more difficult to study. And it took them years until, well, it's only been like maybe 50, 60 years they really decided, oh, crap. Because what man wants to know that it's the female that picks if she's going to marry you or not, all right? What traits would you, for you ladies, what traits do you want in a man? I want a very thick wallet, but I know it doesn't work anymore because you guys all use Venmo. So I want to see your bank account, all right? All right, so there's a huge conflict here, all right? The law of battle is actually called intrasexual selection. The intra means within. So law of battle is within one sex, male, male. Very, 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 very rare is a female fighting for a male, very rare. The taste for beauty, for the beautiful, is intersexual selection. Inter means between. So the males have to provide a trait, and the females have to say, that's the trait I want. If you don't have that trait, I'm not mating with you, all right? Now, the conflict doesn't occur in adults. The conflict actually occurs way, way earlier. So there's the conflict between males and females of one species. The conflict doesn't occur in adulthood by the time you've got the fabulous tail or I want the fabulous tail. It occurs when? It occurs at the gamete stage. All right? People never think, oh, really? What is the egg doing? Well, let me give you the definition of gamete. It's Greek. It means literally, how sexist, to take a wife. To marry. So I'm in a gamete relationship. Okay. If my husband ever said, I'm taking you as a wife, he's dead. All right. The word, from there, the word gamete. Everybody knows what the word gamete is, right? From general bio, yes. It's Greek for a wife. Gametes is Greek for a husband. All right? So, if you guys get married, you get your little fancy little card with a little tissue. You can say gamete and gametes are going to gamete on November 14, 20,000. And then you're going to invite me to your wedding. I go, oh, you remember, right? So none of this man, women, husband, wife, two of you partners. You're all gamete and gametes, all right? So the reason why they come up with all these things is the conflict starts at the egg and sperm stage, all right? So let's draw a huge table. We'll put female here, the egg, and the male. So the conflict starts way before. It starts at the egg and the sperm stage, all right? Everybody knows this, right? Do they not know this? So there's already a big fight before you put, if you don't use a condom, all right? So the fight starts right here. Gamete size. On average, are eggs the same size as sperm, smaller or bigger? Bigger. Doesn't matter what animal species you're talking about. The female gamete is huge, all right? So I'm going to give you, I know we're not talking about humans, but it's the easiest thing for me to find, all right? For a human egg, it's about 0.004 inches, all right? Tiny. For human sperm, anybody want to guess? They're about. So are they roughly the same size? Everybody know there's scientific notation and all the significance and everything. So they're not the same size. It is a huge, huge difference, all right? Does a human sperm have any yolk? Equivalent to yolk. No yolk. There's no yolk. They're not funny people. Get it? No yolk. So the reason why I use yolk is because many, many animals have yolks, all right? The eggs, many have eggs. And the yolk is very, 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 very important because these are the essential nutrients for the growing embryo. All right? Now for the female, how do you make a lot of yolk and really good quality yolk? What do you need in order to make a good quality and a lot of yolk? The more yolk you have, the better the quality of yolk, the greater the chance of development of that chick or whatever, and then you grow up to be this beautiful bird, fish, or whatever. What do you need to make a good yolk? Anybody want to guess? A lot of food. A lot of food. So already, is there a conflict? Because if I'm a female and I want to lay eggs, I need to eat a lot, all right? So the larger the yolk, increase offspring survival. Is this a huge cost for the female if I want to lay 4 eggs? Yes or no? It's a huge, huge cost, right? This is why the house finch, think back, what is the foraging strategy of the female house finch? Eat anything? Almost, you're close. Is you need to maximize the calorie per minute, all right? I'm not going to eat one blueberry here, one blueberry here. I'm going to find a blueberry patch and I'm... So you're maximizing, I got 2 minutes to eat. I'll just have one blueberry. No, I got 2 minutes, I'm going to gorge myself on as many blueberries as well, like this. So you're maximizing your calorie intake per time, all right? You're not going like, I'll get one red berry from over there and another red berry. You don't have time for this because you are getting ready to lay eggs, all right? Long before you meet your male. I gotta feed up, all right? So it's a huge cost for the female to make yolk. Many, many species, they lose up to 50% of their body weight. I just found a new study that said for a human female, they need 50,000 pregnancy over 9 months. You say, well, that's not that much. That's 50,000 calories extra for me to live my normal life of walking around with this increasing weight. That's a lot of calories, so I need a lot of resources, right, in order to have a really healthy, good-sized baby. So you imagine if you're starving, if you can't find the food, everything happens. Now it's taking from me, so now I'm losing weight. So these birds, if they're gonna lose 50% of their body weight, they have to gain another 50% so that they don't end up dead when they lay the eggs, because then who's gonna look after the eggs? So it's a huge, huge cost. Over the males, they're pumping out sperm. I'm not gonna do the action, they're just pumping out sperm a lot, okay, at a very minimal cost, all right? Second, gamete numbers. Do females have unlimited number of eggs? Yes or no? In any species? No, they do not. So the humans have roughly about 480 eggs mature in a lifetime. So your mothers are saying, come on ladies, I want grannies, I want little grandkids. My God, I'm yelling at my kids and they say, we're busy. All right? So it's a limited number of eggs that we have. None of us are gonna have 480 children, but that's about the number of menstrual cycle with one fully developed egg forms, all right? Should we even write down the number for male sperm? No. The guy over there is gonna look. Let's just say every ejaculation is about 500 million. So lots, keep that in mind. Lots, all right? Of any male, insect, fish, humans. Length of reproductive cycle. So, for any animal that is female, do they on average reproduce their entire lifetime? Are they capable of having reproduction in lifetime? No. When we get into mating system, I'll talk to you about menopause. So in females, can you at 80 have viable eggs, have sex with some young hot guy, and have babies? Yes or no? No. So no matter what, the female length of reproductive cycle is limited. In some cases, for insects, it could be hours, it could be days, could be months, I can keep on going, could be years. But it's always limited, all right? Very few animals, I mean, yes, there are animals, females, that can reproduce at the very end, but they don't live 80 years. They live 2 years, all right? What is the length on average of a male reproductive cycle? Is it basically until they drop dead? Yes, and then the sperm goes like this, right? So it could be a lifetime. Do you want an 80-year-old sperm? Is it really 80 years old? No, it's about 3 to 4 months old, but it's been in that body for a very long time waiting to be a mature sperm. Can you already see that there's a conflict between the females and males? Yes? Yes? Guys, be nice, okay? If you have a girlfriend. Risk. Let's talk about risk. Is there any risk for any female of any species to be pregnant? Is there a risk? Is it huge, small, medium? Huge. Huge risk for pregnancy. Is there a risk to looking after your little chickies, your offspring? Yes, because you have to forage for them. Huge risk for parental care. All animals, when they are pregnant, all right, even if you're laying eggs, not the ones so much laying eggs, but even then, they have to have all kinds of risks in order to get the food and enough energy to lay eggs in the water. But if you're carrying that baby, you can't run from predators. It's harder for you to hide. Where the hell not get up. They don't want to get up too long because then the egg gets cold, right? So there's a huge risk. Parental care. Oh, is there any risk of males when they're pregnant? No, they're never pregnant, all right? How often do males provide care? Very, 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 very rare. There's no risk for pregnancy. You guys are going, thank God, I don't want to lose my body shape, right? And for many, many species, there's no parental care, no male parental care. Hey, I gave you fabulous sperm, what else do you want? You want a Mercedes? Go get it yourself. Right? So you can see that already we've got sexual conflict at the stage of the gametes, right? Long before you get mature. So already the female's thinking, holy crap, it takes a lot for me to get pregnant, all right? I have a short time to give birth and do my pregnancy, and the males are going like, oh, I didn't do something like that, all right? What test do I have? Oh, 500 million sperm, I'll just eat an extra berry, right? Let's take a look at this. Oh yeah, this is the umwelt. So for the tick, it's butyric acid, hairs, and heat. That's all they care about in their world, all right? That's all they see of the world. Can I sense butyric acid? Is there warmth? And is there hair that can climb on? That's it, all right? We think of ticks, oh, don't do this, don't do that, don't do this. You need to get rid of all your secretion gland, shave yourself bald, and wear a cold suit. Then you're safe. All right. Can you spot the female peacock? I can't see it, all right? Can you spot the male peacock? Is it obvious to any predator? Right? The center man and the selection in relation to sex, Darwin, all right? He wrote, the sight of a feather in a peacock's tail, whenever I gaze at it, makes me sick. Because he had to come up with another thing, because natural selection would never come up with this. So there had to be something else going on, and that is sexual selection. Sometimes they're exactly the same, but other times sexual selection go, we want this. Can anybody spot the sperm? I think it's that big yellow thing, isn't it? No, all right? So for all these sperm, one lucky sperm gets in, right? That's why they make a lot. But you can see how much yolk does it take? How much energy does it take to make a really good egg, right? Compared to, I got enough energy, I ate enough, I'll make 100 million sperm instead of 500 million. All right? 50,000 calories just for the pregnancy. That is not for me to live. That is in addition to my everyday life for 9 months. All right? That's a lot of calories I have to have, and that's good calories. Because if I eat at Burger King the whole time, I'm going to be like, I'll come up with an onion ring as a burger. There's my baby, the onion ring. All right, what is this? Armament, right? Many, many kinds of armament. They're all highlighted in black. How many animals do armament? Many. That's why you always see it on these documentary. More armament, right? Yes? More armament. Sometimes it comes at a cost. So these three animals with their little horns, I'm not going to name it, so you guys have to guess. They fought each other, and their antlers got stuck, and they slid into a frozen lake and froze to death. So is there a cost to the armament? Yes, because they often will get caught. Look at this one here. How are you going to get past 2 trees? Right? So there's a cost. But if that's what it takes to beat another male, I better have it. Because otherwise I'll have no offspring. Everybody sees these pictures. Oh, I love this one. Right? Who do you think is the aggressor? in a gorilla, right? Wolves, pack animals, moose, deer, elk, dung beetles, fight it out. The winner is the one on top of the dung ball. Get off my dung ball, okay? I love this one. Do you see the females? Are they big? Oh. Let's see who wins. The one that's got a little red poo-poo already? These are elephant seal. Who's the interloper? Who's the one that says, I want your females? Anybody guess? Ah, he got him again. Because I can't reach back there. He's pushing him. He's pushing him. He's pushing him. Ah, loser. That's it. He's done for that season. He's saying loser. I just heard him say loser. Did you see the size of the females? Are they big? Are there one? Or are there many? Who's the winner, right? I just like the music. Watch the end. Wait. Whoa. Let me keep your vital organs. You see that? Everybody understand law of battle, right? The females do not have an active choice in the sense that they're all clustered together. Some of them will switch to another male with another harem, right? Everybody knows what harem means, right? Lots and lots of female by one male. We'll talk about that in the mating system. But the females are not choosing. They've got a different strategy. They've got the big male that's going to protect them. They've got territory and everything. Do you see this? Is this going to be really good for ducking a predatory hawk or eagle? No. Is there a purpose to this thing? Is there a purpose to any of these ridiculous things, right? Are they really obvious in a green forested woods? Yes, I can't see you among all the green. Oh my God, it's red, right? So this is the recent one I found. These are a bird of paradise. It's a white thing that is like 5-6 times the length of its body, trailing. Like, catch me. Oh my God, there's a predator. Catch me, right? Why do they evolve all these things? Why do the males do this? Everybody say it at once. Because females want it, all right? Evolution of beauty. Oh, this is the guy, Dr. Prim. All right. Okay, let me go. Don't look. That was two fruit flies having sex. All right. So there is something going on right here in sexual selection, right? There's a huge conflict. And A.J. Bateman came up with two hypotheses, or two reasons, all right? One is that males have high variability in reproductive success. So someone tell me that they haven't put up their hand, what does that little statement mean? They have high variability in reproductive success. Anybody? Someone brave, somebody in the back. Ah, take a chance.
Some are more successful than others.
Exactly. In these, especially in intra and even in intersexual relationship, there are going to be some males that have really, really, really high reproductive success. Very, very high reproductive success. which means that they have lots and lots and lots of offspring in their lifetime. Did you see that elephant seal? The winner? Do you think he has one baby? Two? He has that whole crew. You can't even count how many females he's having sex with. He has really high reproductive success. The one that got kicked out and got all bitten up, do you think what's his reproductive success? Zero. Many males have zero reproductive success in a season, maybe even in a lifetime, all right? So one of Bateman's things was that males have high variability in reproductive success, all right? The second part is that female reproductive success is linked to, you'll never guess, linked to what? Egg production. Someone tell me why. Why is it linked to egg production? Anybody guess? Nobody wants to think about it? Is it true? Is my reproductive success limited to the number of eggs I have? Yes, all right? And why is that? Well, why didn't I evolve to have 1,000 eggs, 2,000 eggs, right? The thing about females is that at any one male can inseminate all my eggs at once. True or not true? If I was a fish, a bird, not me, all right? Is it true? One sexual encounter with a male, and that male can inseminate all the eggs I have. True or not true? True. Don't forget, I'm not human. I'm a bird, okay? I'm a lizard. I'm an insect. I'm a fruit fly. Is it true that if I have one sexual encounter as a 4-month-old firefly or fruit fly, and one male comes along, is he going to have fewer sperm than eggs? Yes or no? Is he going to have way more sperm than the number of eggs I have in me? Yes. So the problem here is that any one male has enough sperm to fertilize all of my eggs in a breeding season. I don't have time, but there are some female species that store sperm. Yes, they do. They keep the little sperm here, because these are good ones, and if I don't get one next season, I'll use them. All right? Sperm storage, fascinating. I don't have time. So the thing about it is that you can see why there's a conflict, right? The female sitting around and it's March. I need to get fertilized so that I can have the eggs and they hatch and then they fledge and they fly off in May, all right? But the problem is that one male can come along and fertilize all my eggs. And if that males are done, what happens to all my eggs for that season? And guess what? I live one season. Can anybody understand why there's female mate choice? Yes, all right? So this is a big conflict because I only have this many eggs. No matter what species, the males have 100 zillion times more sperm. So I better pick the right male, all right? So let's look at the example of the fruit flies and their sexual prowess. So this is the example to look at male variability in reproductive success. So what they did was they had a jar. I showed you already. They have a jar. And inside are fruit flies. They have male. They have female. Equal numbers. All virgins. High male variability food, they let them alone, all right? They let them mate. Then these people are so anal, they did the paternity test of every single male and every single offspring. So they know which male produced what offspring. They let them mate, and then they did all the paternity tests. For all the males and all the offspring. So they know exactly male number 1 had 3 offspring. Male number 2 had 80 offspring. Male number 3 had no offspring. So they know every single thing, right? They also know which female gave birth. So this is the ideal condition. Equal numbers of males, equal numbers of female. They have all the food they want. They have a nice little place, a little glass jar, you know, and looking out like, oh my God, this is a great apartment building, right? And they let them have it. What was the result? The result was that 96% of all females produced offspring. So almost all the females, there were probably some, whatever reason females said, I'm a little mature, but all the females had babies, all right? But only 76% of males produced offspring. So, did all the males have a female? Don't forget, these males can have mating with multiple females, all right? So even if the female has been mated by 2 or 3 males, you can see the paternity of the offspring because they can store the sperm and everybody, all the sperm get a chance, all right? So only 76% of the males, what are the other percent doing? 21% of males did not mate. What were they doing? This is why there is high variability in reproductive success in any male, in any species, and males in any population around the world. So if you go out and look at robins right now, you're going to find that there are only some males have a lot of offspring and some males have none. Why? They have lots of sperm. There's lots of females out there. Why? Right? So there is definitely high variability in male reproductive success. Everybody got it? We're not going to talk about law of battle, because law of battle is very obvious, right? Everybody talks about it. You can all see it. The winner gets the babies, get the females and get the babies. The loser gets nothing. The loser may spend the entire life never getting a chance because it's a small little runt. Some of the losers over years will attack the alpha male because the alpha male is getting old, and then will usurp the alpha male and take over the harem that the male had, right? That's the law of battle. Boring. So what we're going to spend the rest of this lecture and next lecture on is the female mate choice. Because it is very, very fascinating, and there are many, many subcategories of it that I wish I had even more time to look at it. So this is now the battle between the two sexes. There is conflict. Everybody understand? Yes.
What happened to the other 3%?
Nobody knows. There may be something wrong. You know, it's like saying if I took 100 people here, there may be 3% of females that have no eggs, they're sterile for whatever reason. But the point is that almost all the females were able to reproduce and mate. But that is not, you can't say 76% is all the males. There's a number of males that did not get a chance to mate, way more than the 3% that may have had a mutation. How do you explain all the others, right? So that is the law of battle, basically. Why some males have high reproductive success and some have low. In any one season, remember that seal, maybe in 2 years, the loser is now bigger and the alpha is old. Then he pushes the alpha out and then his reproductive success starts to climb, right? In others, they never get that big. So that's why armament is not only the horns and the teeth, it's also big size and aggression, the willingness to fight, right? You gotta fight in order to be on top of the dung heap, right? Anybody ever play top of the heap? I'm top of the heap, all right? So that's law of battle. We're not gonna talk about it because it's very obvious. What we're gonna talk about now is female mate choice, all right? Because it is very, very, very hard. So I'm gonna write down a question and then I'm gonna take answers. What are the females looking for? That's my question. Someone tell me. Someone who hasn't put up their hand, just tell me, what are female, you can think of it, bird, fish, lizard, whatever it is. What is the female looking for? One thing. I see. Tell them, say it.
Good sperm.
Huh?
Good sperm.
Good sperm. I always like it. Good sperm. I like mine to have done a little weightlifting, you know. Okay. Somebody else. She started it. Right down to the thing. Good sperm.
Strength.
Strength. Do we need strength?
Like from male.
I said, what are the females looking for?
Male.
Yeah. No.
Strength. Strength. Like how
Strength?
strong they are and how like they can protect their offspring.
Okay. Oh, okay. I tell you, are you looking for a husband that's going to protect you, or you going to get your own gun? Get your own gun. All right, somebody else. Yes, back there.
Good immunity.
Good immunity. Yes. Immune system. IS. Somebody else. I saw a hand. Well, you got to be more specific. What part of the size? Huh?
Size of the entire head.
Does that really matter to the female house finch, what size you are?
Didn't you say that earlier?
We're looking at female mate choice. What does the female house finch want? A big male or? You know the house finch. Are they about the same size, the male and the female? So is the female looking for a big size? No. This is female mate choice. This is not law of battle. That's size. You understand what I'm saying? So what does a female house finch want? You must answer that question. What does a female house finch want? The redder male. Is that size? No. Okay, so it's not size. Not size. You.
Just what their preferences. Their sexual preference varies on the species, whether that be like the fact that
I know, but I want a trait. A preference is not a trait.
Parental care.
Parental care. Nice guy, guys.
How fucking
Ladies.
crazy.
Who else? Colorful. Color. Let's add color. What else? Origin behavior. What else? Anybody? What do females want in a male? Well, for me, it's
Fertility.
fertility. That's not related to sperm, right?
No.
Oh, okay. The hots. Anything else? I'm trying to see my list. Nothing else? You want a male to dominate over you? Well, absolutely not. No. No. I have a long choke collar on my husband. Like this. We've been married a long time, all right? No, no. Ladies, or whoever identifies as female, do you want a male to dominate over you? Absolutely not. Males, are you going to dominate over female? The answer better be equal. No, 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 no. This is not law of battle. This is taste for the
A good meeting call, like the cricket time?
Oh, a good mating call, okay. Strength, dominance. Maybe I should write down taste for the beautiful. Nobody ever equates beautiful with dominance. Dominance, beautiful with a massive, all right. Is there anything else a female is looking for in terms of picking a male? Anybody have any other things?
Resources.
Resources. Oh, we already said that. Resources.
Yeah, yeah.
That was all about me. Yes, resources. Anything else?
Physical health.
Physical health, okay? I'm leading you guys on. Would any female bird pick a male bird that has a really lovely chest but has a wing like this? So what do you call that? Huh? What? Geek? Symmetry, right? So they've done a study where they measured the length of the top of the horse's leg to the hoof on both sides. So this is a really interesting study they did in England because they are all in the horse racing. So the beginning of the horse racing season, they went to all the farms and they measured the height of the horse's leg. Let me draw a horse.
That's pretty good.
Big chest. You guys all fail. Everybody who laughed failed. All right? So what they did was they measured the left side, this distance, and they measured the right side. That's all they did. They measured all the horses that were going to run in that season. Then they went away. At the end of the season, they looked at the horse and the measurement of the left forelock and the right forelock, and they looked at how much money they earned. What was the answer? Who won the most money? Who won the most money? The one that had all the steroid shots, okay, you know. Who won the most money? What did you say? The most symmetrical. You don't want a horse to go, oh my, I'm winning, right? Because one of my legs is half an inch shorter, all right? Nobody ever wins like that, all right? If you go to an athlete, they don't have arms like this. I'm a great swimmer, right? So symmetry, physical, symmetrical stuff is very, there's no proof I do this. Physical health, symmetry. All right, so let's look at sperm, protection, immune response, parental care, fertility, physical health, maybe even symmetry. Maybe not so much color and foraging. How? Okay, these are what the female would want because you want a good male. Because you want that male to pass down those traits to your offspring. That's half of your own offspring, right? So that those chickies, remember reproductive success is not that I gave laid 4 eggs. I laid 4 eggs, all 4 of them hatched, all of them grew up, and then next year they all reproduce, right? It's no point if I laid 4 eggs and none of them hatched. Hey, I got great reproductive success, I laid 4 eggs, none of them hatched, right? So reproductive success means that you pass on good traits, and it continues to pass on good traits for the offspring to the offspring to the offspring, right? So now looking at all these things that a female wants, right? Think about this. How does the female know the male has it? Ladies, you met a guy in this class. What do? You're going to start dating, going out, all the little stuff. What do you do after a year? Can I have a sample of your blood? Here is a 500-page survey. Can you fill it out? What would you do if there's a train and the train is splitting and there's your newborn baby and there's your mother? Who are you going to kill? Let's go, okay? Okay, I'm not sorry, I can't marry you, right? So how do you know that the male that you picked is going to provide parental care? Right? How do you know that the male that you pick, who is in, right? Who is going to make it big but never does, right? Who is going to say, I'm going to keep working really hard, make lots of money, get a promotion, but I don't have time for the 5 babies, all right? So how, if you can't figure it out, how is that female house finch going to figure it out? Can anybody here absolutely guarantee that the person that they're picking for the male is going to be able to do all this? Excuse me, you've been great. Can I have a sperm sample? How do you know? Do you know? Can you guess? But what is it based on? Hair color? Arm strength? Coming to class? Getting an A? Getting into medical school and cheating? What? How do you know? Can you know for sure? Okay, if you as a human can't ask another male what to know, how is a bird going to ask the other bird? How is that female peacock going to ask the male peacock? Excuse me, how are your feathers? Where did you get them from? Which store? How? You're 2 fish, sticklebacks. How is the female going to go? Blah, 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 blah. Oh yeah, okay. So how are they going to know? You guys tell me. Pheromones. What does it mean? We all have pheromones. Are you saying some males don't have pheromones? Except, no. Every animal is exactly the same. So you are the same as another male. A male finch is going to be the same as the other male finch. They all have pheromones. They all have feathers. They all have eyes. They all have beaks. So how are you going to know? How is that female bird going to predict that that male bird is going to provide parental care to the offspring?
Aren't there like certain indicators like
Certain indicators, right? What's certain indicators? All right. Think of all of these as honest indicators. They're honest indicators of male somethingness. Okay, we're not even going to name it, all right? Of some male thing. You're going to say, all the females of every species want this in their male. Because I am only limited by how long I'm going to live, how many eggs I have, and all that kind of stuff. So I got to pick the one perfect male because I'm going to die in another week. I'm only alive this long. I don't want to have a male that says, hi, I'm gorgeous, and then find out that he has no sperm. His sperm is horrible, but you picked him because he says, I'm gorgeous, right? So these are all honest indicators. If you've got symmetry, you got all this stuff. But the problem is that you can't tell on many things. You can't say, let's do your sperm. Okay, I look at it under a microscope. I'm not even going to tell you, my husband and I have access to labs and microscope. We looked at the sperm. The trouble is that if you take an aliquot, you always get the bad sperm. So we had ones that go like this. He had ones with 3 heads, 4 tails, and I'm going like, oh my God, all right? So you can't do this. You can't ask for an aliquot. It doesn't mean anything. Because that sperm has to travel up all wherever it is your eggs are. How do you know they have a good immune system? Do you give your potential boyfriend a cold and time? Are you still snotty? It's the third day. Excuse me, we can't have sex anymore, all right? The problem is that all of these are what the female really is looking for, but they can't find it. They can't say, do you have this? Do you have this? What do they have? What they have are what you call proxy indicators. All right? I wrote down some stuff that were already proxy. So a proxy is something that stands for something else. All right? I know many of you don't know, definitely really a good example of proxy. I know because I belong to a certain association. It's an association where we laugh at undergrads. We spend all the time laughing with you guys, all right? But you belong to a club, you belong to an association. You're a member. You get to vote. You get to vote if you belong to a golf club or a health club or whatever, that you want more machines, you want more of this, you want more towels. Everybody gets to vote. But you have to come to the meeting to vote. But I can't come to the meeting because I'm grading your quiz. So I give my proxy vote to her. I said, here, this is my name, you vote for me, all right? She takes a piece of paper, she votes for herself, she goes, I have to vote for Dr. Sotero right here, right? That's what proxy means. That this piece of paper is equivalent to me voting, all right? So now, you as a female cannot ask the male bird, do you have good sperm? How good is your foraging ability? How good is your immune response? Are you going to take care of my chicks? You can't ask any of those things because they don't talk, right? But what you can do is use a proxy indicator. Now, one of you have already said it, that's why I didn't check this thing off. So what's the female proxy indicator for good health and good immune response in the house finch? What's the proxy? The color, all right? So think about this. For the female house finch, the proxy for all those great traits, great eyes, because I can find the carotenoid, great wings, so I can fly to the carotenoid, great heart, because I can fly to the carotenoid and back, great whatever, daring risk-taking because I'm willing to fly out of the forest into my backyard, out in the open to get the red berries. And it turns out that all the carotenoid means I have really great immune response. And in addition to all of that, I will take care of your babies because I'm obsessed about finding food, okay? All of that is in one and one only thing, and that is what? Am I right or wrong? True or not? So that red plumage implies so many things, okay? It implies probably strength and protection. It certainly provides proof of good immune system, parental care, physical health, symmetry, has a good foraging ability, and who knows about, they don't do mating calls, right? All of these things in one bundle, red plumage, right? Does everybody understand what's going on? So now comes the difficult part. The male of that house finch has to now pass on what trait to the male offspring? What traits does he have to pass on? All those traits, right? What does the female pass on? Is it going to pass on great foraging ability? Great sperm? What does the female pass on? Somebody answer. What does the female house finch pass on to his female offspring?
The ability to look for the red plumage.
Exactly. The ability to look for the preference for the red plumage, all right? Now, is this natural selection? Is sexual selection? Because natural selection is to say humans should have 2 legs. It's not like males have 2 legs and females have 1 leg like this, right? So that's natural selection. Everybody should have a heart, should have lungs, should have liver. But when it comes to sexual selection, there's a difference. The males are passing on traits to their male offspring, and the females are passing on traits to their female offspring. So ultimately, you have a dichotomy. Males pass on traits to their male offspring. Females pass on preference to their female offspring. Yes? Everybody get it? And these preferences have to match the traits the males have. I don't care how gorgeous you are if you're a house finch and you're in a neighborhood with red and you have these gorgeous blue. Wow, what a mutation. You're not going to get mated. I don't care how gorgeous the blue is. I don't care how great your immune response. You do not have the trait of the female in that population that's looking for a red plumage. Everybody get it? So this is what happens. This is why it's very, very difficult when it comes to female sexual selection. For Darwin to say, how can you have a peacock tail like this, all right? So there are many ways that the females can get what they want, all right? One way is called direct benefits. This is all still female mate choice, all right? So depending on the species, some of them are going to want, I want concrete proof that you are worthy to have sex with me. Concrete proof, that's what direct benefits mean. This is where, just wait a minute. Natural selection favors females who has a genetic disposition to choose males that can provide them with tangible resources that can increase their fecundity. Fecundity is basically the maximum potential reproduction. Reproductive output of female. So depending on the species, the average fecundity for a particular animal could be 10 eggs over a lifetime. So you ideally want to be 10, you want to do the 10 eggs. If you get 11, whoa, you picked a good male and you were good yourself. If you have 4 or 5 eggs, you're doing something wrong. So in terms of female mate choice, one of the categories is called direct benefits, all right? These animals tend to live very, very short lives. So they're not going to sit around and say, well, I'll come back next year and reproduce, all right? So a lot of these are insects. Many examples of insects. What's the question? Is it okay? Yes? Insects live a very, very short life. There are many examples of, there's a difference between species that live a very, very short life and species that live a very, very long, much longer life, and how they take care of their young. If you live a short life, you're going to take care of your young because I'm going to be dead next week. If I'm living for 4 or 5 years and something happens to my nest, I'll come back next year and I get another chance. And then I get another chance after that, right? So there's a big difference about life history. How long do I live compared to what's happening? So in many insects, they live a very, very short life. they need to make something that's very, very concrete. Not like, guess what? In 10 years, when I'm head of Google, we'll be trillionaires. Well, I don't have 10 years. I'm only living a week. So you better do something fast. So this is the, so in these cases, what the females want is something called nuptial gifts. This is a physical resource such as food to enhance mating success and offspring survival. All right? I'm sure you guys know what nuptial gifts are. Yeah, what are they? You're nodding. What's an example of a human nuptial gift? Ah, very good. She said engagement ring, right? What typically, we have friends that did the whole classic thing. What is the typical picture of an engagement event? What does it look like? Are you both in an alley somewhere? No, where are you? You're on the mountaintop. Everybody's dressed beautifully. And what is the male doing? What's the classic? Come on, ladies. They're on one knee going like, oh, here's my ring. It's 5 months of my salary. That's a nuptial gift. What does it imply? He's laughing because he's not giving 5 months of his salary to any female, all right? That means you saved all this money when you could have gone out with the guys and drink and bet on Fandango or whatever it is, right? You saved all that money. What does it say about you? Are you willing to save and delay and hope that this gorgeous female who has no eggs, he doesn't know that, right? So you're going like, ooh, nuptial gifts. So we do it, many, many insects do it. So we're basically like a firefly, all right? All right, so this example is the firefly. You're just like a firefly, okay? The male goes around flip, 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 flip. The female's going What the males produce is a spermatophore. It's essentially a sperm package with a lot of food resources in it. Within a protein-rich structure. This is the nuptial gift. So basically, you're talking to a guy and says, let's have sex and here's your steak. Just in case you need some energy, right? So the males produce this spermatophore, right? It takes a lot of it. It costs them too because it's protein rich. So they have to make it, right? Oh, it's hard for me to draw a firefly. What's the firefly look like? And they make this spermatophore. Right? The spermatophore, during sex, they transfer the spermatophore to the female. It's so exciting, you drop your phone. All right? They transfer the spermatophore to the female. The females use the sperm to fertilize her eggs, but the female does not eat ever again. Where is she getting her nutrient from? The spermatophore, which is rich in protein. So the female does not feed anymore. How many people have killed fireflies? Oh, come on, admit it, all you serial killers, all right? Just think, who did you kill, the male or the female? So the female does not eat. she now has a packet that can fertilize her eggs, plus the spermatophore that's going to feed her eggs, all right? Because she is not eating. So she does not feed, and she uses the protein-rich as egg nutrient. All right, but how does the female pick the male? Anybody know what fireflies do? What do fireflies do? Somebody who has not answered the question. What do fireflies do? Nobody knows what fireflies do? Yes, back there.
Don't they flash a certain pattern?
They flash what?
A certain pattern?
Yes, they do. They flash. I know, they don't go like this, no. They flash light, right? So, this is the end product when the female says, okay, here's the spermatophore. But the problem is, how do you pick among all those flashing males? They pick by the length of the flash, all right? So the faster you flash within a given time, and the longer you flash, what does that indicate about the male? Great spermatophore, right? So how does the female pick the male firefly? By flash speed, by flash duration. What the speed and duration, they're a proxy for what? You guess. The speed and the length of the duration of the flash is a proxy indicator of
How much energy, like nutrients?
in the spermatophore, exactly. So the speed and the flash, they're proxy. Because the female firefly is not going up to the male and saying, let me look at your spermatophore. It looks a little small to me. Let me look at you. So they can't do that. They're flitting around. They only live a short time before you go put them in a jar and kill them, all right? So the proxy for the female is that the more you flash and the longer you flash, the greater the spermatophore you have, the better the spermatophore, the better it is for my eggs to survive. And this is exactly what they found. So when they did the study, they did a whole thing of looking at how often they flash and how big the spermatophore. So basically what they did was they allowed the male and female to mate, and then they killed both. I know, firefly. And then they pull out the spermatophore from the female out, and then they measured it and weighed it, right? And this is what they found. This is flash duration in milliseconds. It was like 80, 90, 100, 110, 120 milliseconds. Here is spermatophore mass in milligrams. 0.05, 0.1. I am just giving you the numbers, but you do not have to memorize the numbers. Everybody say, I do not have to memorize the number. You have to understand the concept, all right? So they measured how fast and how long the male flashed. Then after mating, they killed everybody and they measured the spermatophore, how much weight. What does the graph look like? What's the relationship? Someone show me with your arm. What is it? Yes. The longer they flash, the greater the size of the spermatophore. So, is flash duration a proxy for all those secret traits of the male? Yes, it is, right? Did the firefly female go, hey guys, let's all talk about this. Let's decide that we're not going to talk to anybody, any male, unless they're flashing 120 milliseconds. Does that imply that the female firefly can measure time? Length of time? Yes or no? Can birds see color? Yes. So insects can detect time because the back there, the Tata answered that different species of firefly flash a certain different pattern. If I can't detect that pattern, I'm going to have sex with the wrong species, and there are going to be no eggs, no embryos, no offspring, right? So the thing that you think about is only we can measure, you know. I have a phone that has an app that says, oh yeah, this much. Well, all these animals can detect comparison, they can detect time, and they can detect length. Because I need to know, you're flashing fast, you're not flashing as fast, I'm going to get your spermatophore. Oh my God. Who's on top? The male. All right? They're so cute. No, they're not. Oh, I have to tell you, sometimes you could be fooled, right? Sometimes, so in these fiddler crabs, everybody knows that in crabs, they always have one larger claw than the other, right? The larger claw is a proxy for, you know, aggression, you know, size, you know, ability to fend off things, right? But unfortunately, sometimes you lose a claw. And then the other one grows up slowly, right? But now it looks like there's a big difference in claw. So sometimes the males can fool you. The ladies go, oh my God, big claw, little claw. He must be great. It turns out he has dud sperm, right? Because he just lost the claw because he was incompetent. Can you see? It's flashing. Can you guys see?
Yeah.
No?
Yeah.
You can't see the flash? All right, so here are the two fireflies. Again, they're having sex. Don't look. All right? And then the male turns around and says, okay, I'm going to pass you the spermatophore. And these are the spermatophore. All right? They are filled with sperm, and they're also filled with protein because the female does not eat anymore, right? This is for her own eggs. Can you even hear that it's flashing? Here are flies. What are those things? Yes, nuptial. So in the spring, when you're out there, don't open your mouth because you may eat somebody's nuptial gift. Oh, look at that. I hate this kind of stuff. This is not my thing, okay? I'd rather be in the woods. Oh, look at this. You know that guy's gonna cheat on her. You know, right? This is my nuptial gifts. All right? So in these locusts, they actually will kill another animal and present it to the female. The female will look and say, not long enough, goodbye. They will actually be able to measure the length of that nuptial gift of a dead animal and say, too small, and keep on walking. So there are many, oh, Lindsay, will you marry me? Jeez, guys, do not do that, all right? It always means dove sperm. Now, Daniel Craig will be my nuptial gift. Between him and the wallet, I'm going to be, it's a hard decision, you know, because he is getting old. As opposed to that guy. Whoa. Who's going to pick this guy over that guy? I don't see anybody raising their hands.
Forces male fireflies to flash.
Okay, now let me go on this one, all right? So, this is a new study that I just read about. And, you know, the thing about behavior is that there's so many new stuff. It's phenomenally amazing. So, this thing I just showed you, just flashed on, we'll just look at it for a minute, all right? So, it's also about a firefly, but it's also with an orb-weaving spider. It's in China. It's a study from 2024. So, it's an orb-weaving spider. This is so phenomenal. You think you guys know what animal, you don't even know what's going on with insects. They are so smart. I'm going to have sex with one of those nuptial gifts, insects. All right? This is the orb-weaving spider, and they predate upon is a web or it's a black hole. I don't know. One of the two, right? So the orb weaving spider puts out all these webs. They wait at night until a firefly gets trapped. What color do you want me to do to a firefly? Nobody cares. Purple. The males on average are more often caught because they're flitting around, flashing to the females who are sitting somewhere going like, hey, did you see that one over there? He's flashing at about 121 milliseconds. Let's all go for him, right? So, but this is what's amazing. The males flash differently from the females in this specific species in China. The males have flashing organs that are symmetrical, so they flash on both sides. So let me draw again the male. It doesn't look like this because it looks like a rabbit, right? But they have symmetrical flashing organs so that they flash like this on both sides, the right, left, right, left, right, left, right. The females only flash on one side. So this is the male. Both flash. The females, only one organ flashes. So the females go like this. The males go like this. Right? Whoa! What the heck happened? I lost it. Where did it go? And where's Daisy? Oh, here we are. Ah, wait. What the heck? All right. So the orb weaving spider, it sits here. Oh my God, no. All right, there's the spider. It, on average, very often traps male. So when they did the research, they would go to find all these webs and they would always get the sex of the fireflies. It's mostly males, right? So then they kept saying, why is it always male? There are so many males in a web versus female. Females are very, very rarely found in the web. They're mostly males. So then they started looking at it, and it turns out that when they trap these male firefly, the orb weaving spider disables one of the flashing organ, eats it out. What does the male flash now like? Exactly. So the spider disables one of the flashing organs of trapped male. So what does, now don't forget, they're initially trapped, they're not wrapped in a cocoon, so they're just stuck like this, right? They're still alive, so they are still flashing. But if you disable one of the flashing organ, what does this look like to other fireflies? What does it look like? Right. It looks like a female. So now, who was attracted to this thing? Males. That's why. So you see a female, you're going to go like, right? So it looks like a female, and ultimately it attracts males to the web. Is that not amazing? The use of the orb-weaving spider to manipulate the behavior of a firefly male, so it looks like a female, so it attracts more males to come to the area to flash, and now you're all trapped. So overwhelmingly, on the webs, you'll find lots and lots of males and very few females. This is a manipulation of behavior of another species. Isn't that amazing? You don't find this amazing? That they have figured it out. So they don't understand how it happens, but they literally damage the male one of the flashing organs. And because of that, it flashes like a female because it's still alive, not like a zombie. It's just like, help, right? Flash, 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 flash. And the males go, oh my God, there's a female there. Let's go and show me my 120-second flash. You're trapped. So this is really interesting. They haven't figured out how the spider knows to pinch one of the flashing organs, because that firefly is still alive.
Males to set a lethal trap. Scientists say in the paddy fields and around the ponds of central China. A common species of orb-weaving spider builds new webs every evening at sunset, allowing it to entrap fireflies that begin to flash, flicker, and glow around the same time. Not content to rely on pure happenstance, the spider, Araneus ventricosus, has found a way to hack the fireflies by luminescent signals to lure more fireflies to its web, new research has found. It does this by making captive male fireflies emulate the single pulse mating signals of female fireflies, according to a study published Monday in the journal Current Biology, although it's not yet clear exactly how the spider manages this feat. The spider manipulates the flashing signals of male fireflies ensnared in its web to mimic the typical flashes of a female firefly, thereby luring other males searching for mates, said study author Dakin Li, a behavioral ecologist at Hubei University in China. Female fireflies are usually stationary, Li explained, so only male fireflies tend to get trapped in and are more likely to be lured to spider webs, web revelations, firefly.
All right. Is that interesting or not cool? So now does the behavior of one species alter the behavior of another species in order to get food? Oh my God. Oh, we still have lots of time. Let's go. So everybody understands direct benefits. I only give you a few examples, but it's always about direct benefit. Direct. Here is the natural gift. Here is food for you, right? This is it. Here's money. Maybe that's not a good one, right? The other strategy for female mate choice is called the good gene theory. Everybody understand, right? This is all female mate choice. The female gets to decide how good is your nuptial gift. Okay, that's the direct benefit. Other species do something different. I need you guys to understand, no matter what happens, species do not switch from intra to intersexual. They don't switch from law of battle to taste for the beautiful, right? So if you're this huge animal with big claws and fangs and aggression and testosterone, you go, I am beautiful! It's not going to happen, right? So whatever species that are doing law of battle stays law of battle. Other species are doing taste for the beautiful. They never ever switch, right? You don't find a silverback gorilla going like, I'm just gonna give you a little gift. No, they're gonna fight the other males. So, okay, so this is the second part. This, yes?
So nuptial gift is something that you present to the female,
It's female mate choice, because I can say no to you.
but sometimes you don't know the nuptial gift.
You always know the nuptial gifts, because the firefly, the nuptial gift is a representation of flashing. The more you flash, the bigger the nuptial gift, and that's what I want. So the flash is the proxy for a good nuptial gift. You are confused. Does everybody understand? What is the proxy that the female firefly decides that I'm going to mate with the male? What is it? Flash duration. And it turns out the more you flash, it turns out you are having a larger spermatophore mass. So who are you going to pick? One that flashes at 80 or one that flashes at 120? 120, right? So the 120 is the proxy for great spermatophore, which is the good trait that you want, food. Got it? Everybody got it? The proxy for good food is flashing. Flashing indicates that you have great spermatophore. Everybody understand that? But in this case, it is always still female mate choice, because I can look at you and say, no, 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 ah. that one. And what I'm picking is flash rate, because I have the genetic preference to say flash rate is equal to large spermatophore, and I want as large a spermatophore as possible, because I'm not feeding, the spermatophore is going to feed all of my eggs. Yes or no? You still look like, maybe talk to me later. Everybody else understand what I'm saying, right? So what we're doing in female mate choice is you can't ask female firefly, cannot ask the male firefly, do you have good immune response? But the female firefly has to pick some proxy. So I'm going to go do another one where I'm going to go tell you other ways besides direct benefits, which is always a nuptial gift. But many species do not do nuptial gifts, all right? They do something called the good gene theory, which is really looking at what are the honest indicators. And in a lot of these things has to do with symmetry, all kinds of health metrics. Coloration, lack of mutation. I'm not asking for you guys, right? If you have a mutant where one of your legs is shorter than the other, the female is not going to pick you, all right? If your wings are not symmetrical, they're not going to pick you. If half of your beak is all twisted, they're not going to pick you, all right? Health metrics, lack of mutation, lack of injury. So if you're a bird or you're a fish and you're swimming and somebody has bitten half of your fins off, you're still alive, but I'm saying to myself, wait a minute, you're alive, but you were so close to a predator that you got bitten off something, but you're still alive. Do I pick you versus a male that has never been near a predator? Right? So these are the things that you can actually see. You're symmetrical, you don't have any injury, you don't seem to have any mutation, you don't seem to have any kind of sickness where you're, right? Illness. Symmetry is very important, health metrics are very important, because these are the ones that the female can visually see. I cannot see your sperm, I cannot see that you're going to take care of my offspring. I cannot necessarily see foraging, because this is not a direct benefit one. I'm just looking at you like this. Wow, look at him. He's got a red breast. Look at my wings. Look how beautiful I am. Look at my beak. Look at my symmetry, right? That's all you have to go on. These metrics all are proxy for all the other stuff. Good immune response, good sperm, good foraging, all this kind of stuff. Yes?
How does lack of mutation apply if it's like a beneficial mutation? Or
Which is a bad mutation. Lack of mutation. When I say mutation, we're not talking about something subtle. We're talking about a physical mutation that you can see, right? I'm sure, has anybody ever seen an animal that limps? Has anybody seen a deer that limps? Or a bird that seems really odd? Yes? Everybody? Everybody knows what an animal looks like, right? Yes? Has everybody seen? I've seen deer. Some of them walk and some of them... And what do you always say? Oh, I bet you got hit by a car, right? Is that what you say? So already I'm going like, ooh, that deer did not avoid a car. Why? It couldn't run? This is stupid. What is it, right? Already that male deer is, I don't care how gorgeous it looks, it's limping. Got hit. It skipped off a bumper and managed to live, but I don't want it because it is not got all these physical traits. Because I don't want one that is close to dying. I want one that was never close to dying. All right? So, let's go back to the peacock. What does the tail signify? I'm not drawing it again because you know how lovely it is. What does the male peacock tail signify? Someone Melissa game. Yes,
Like nutrients and physical fitness.
nutrient, good nutrition, the scientific term, good nutrition, probably good health. Anybody else? Shout it out. You are a female, little brown peacock, and there are a bunch of gorgeous males flashing their thing, but you only pick one. What does that tail signify to you as a female peacock? The little brown thing, the insignificant little brown thing.
Good survival chances.
Good survival chances, of course. Good survival. You have that freaking big tail, you cannot climb up onto a tree. They often find female peacocks on the lower branch of a tree. Where's the male? Shit, I wish I could climb up there, but I can't. The tail weighs 100 pounds, right? Good nutrition, good health, good survival. What else? Is that it? So, guess what? Yes? Oh, really? Can you see good sperm? Wait a minute, I got some in my pocket. No, you can't see good sperm. You're a female. Can you see good sperm on a male peacock? Can you see these things? Can you see good health? Can you see good symmetry? Yes. The fact that it is beautiful and the tail is huge, it lived. You can't be 2 months old and have that tail. You've lived a long time and you've survived. You've avoided predation, you've avoided a car, you've avoided somebody else plucking one of your feathers, right? So all of these traits are things that you can actually see, and they're a proxy for a good sperm. But you can't see good sperm. Nobody can see good sperm, all right? They're a proxy for immune system, sperm, all the other stuff, right? But all you can see is a gorgeous tail, right? So, guess what they did? This is an amazing thing. How do we know what the female is looking at? Anybody know? So they trained a whole bunch of female peacocks to wear an eye motion detector. Yes. What do you do for a living? I train female peacocks to wear an eye motion detector helmet. Ooh, let's marry. No. So they had all these they had a few female peacocks, and they trained them to wear a eye motion detector. So all that does is it tracks the eye of what the peacock is looking for. Because what is the female peacock looking for? You want me to draw a peacock again? No, you don't want me to draw a peacock. What is, anybody guess, what is the female looking at? If you train the female to put a peacock to look, and they parade the males past, what is the female looking at? Yes, of course, the tail. What part of the tail? The tail is huge. The outer part. You know what those are? The eyes, right? Everybody knows what the eyes are? They're not real eyes, people. I think some of you have never left your couch, all right? What are they looking at? Yes, they're looking at the tail. That's the fancy thing. What are they looking at? You'll never guess. Anybody want to guess? The eyes. Anybody else? Remember, is it your umwelt or is it the female peacock's umwelt? Yes. God, I don't even know where I am. video. So not only do they have a huge tail, they rattle it. Look at the female saying, oh my God, stop bothering me, go away. Phew. Holy crap, ugh, Jesus Christ, no, go away, go away. See, is the female really interested?
No.
Let's watch it again. So it's shaking. So not only is the eyes, but they shake it to show the female, it's so good. So what are they looking at? Does that female look really interested? No. So they train this female to have an eye motion detector mechanism on its helmet. Don't worry, the female was killed at the end of the experiment. It wasn't, right? And look, you can see the yellow dot represents what the female was looking at. So it turns out at far away, a great distance, you don't need to know the distance, at far away, they look at the tail, just the image of the tail. But when the male comes close, guess what it looks at? What is it looking at? It's looking at the bottom feathers. Think about it. Why would you look at the bottom feathers? Someone tell me. You know, a lot of people say you can always tell a man how well off he is, wait a second, by looking at his shoes and his cuffs of his pants. Tell me why.
They aren't well protected from like outside environments.
Well, you're close. The whole wing is in the outside environment. But what is scraping along the ground? The bottom. So if you can keep that bottom feather nice and clean and healthy and not straggly, that means you have groomed yourself, you can stand up tall enough, you can suspend the weight of it instead of letting it drag all over the place. So are they looking at the eyes? No, right? What is the umwelt of the female? I'm looking at how scuffed your pants bottom is and how scuffed your shoes are. Because that's an indicator of how well. So if you guys go for an interview, you gotta wear good shoes, clean them, and if you're a male, you gotta make sure the cuff of your pants is clean. Because everything looks great up here, but what are you wearing, right? So the umwelt for the female peacock is not all those fancy eyes, it's how you support it at the bottom of all those fancy eyes, right? So it's very, 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 you can't do this kind of stuff if you're unhealthy, if you're hit by a car but you survive, if you're constantly running from a predator because you're doing something wrong, right? I like this one. Just show us your machine, come on ladies. All right. So let's look at we'll end this thing with, let's look at the cost benefit. What's the cost for the male peacock to have a big feather? Is there a cost to have all that big, huge feathers? Yes or no? Yes. Is it a big cost? Yes, I would say it's a big cost. You say no. Okay, let's you walk around with a feather that's 20 feet tall and dragging it and keeping it clean. Oh my God. It's a big cost. Because of why? Predators, exactly. It can't fly. So whatever happens, if they're out in the wild, and these things are out in the wild, they have to avoid predators, they have to avoid injury, they have to avoid a car, I don't care what the hell they're avoiding. Snagging their feathers onto something. So they need to be very, very, very careful. Is there any benefit for the male to have a beautiful tail feather and beautiful bottom? Is there any benefit? Yes. Huge reproductive success, right? Huge benefit. Huge reproductive success. Picked by females. Now don't forget, if you are that male, gorgeous, healthy, clean bottom feather male, you are going to mate with many, many females. Your reproductive success is not one female, it's going to be many female because I'm standing next to a loser male who's got a scuzzy, icky, ragtag feather. So standing next to you, the female's going to go, not this one, right? So you're going to have very, very high reproductive success because this is a loser male, right? For the female peacock, is there any cost to the female peacock? In terms of looks? None, very few. You are camouflage. What color are female peacocks? Brown. You can fly. So it doesn't have those traits. I don't need to have a tail that is 10 feet taller than me. I am a little stout little brown thing. I'm going to hide in the brown grass, and the fox and the wolves and the dogs coming by will never see me, all right? Now, is there a benefit to picking the right male? Is there a benefit? Yes, there's a huge benefit. So, this leads to Darwin's conundrum, okay? This is really upsetting him, is that this thing right here. Why does the male have such a ridiculous cost? Why? This is huge. It's a huge cost. You could say it almost outweighs the reproductive success. So let's just put it all up there like this. It's a huge cost. So why does it exist? Under natural selection, would you expect the male peacock to have a tail like that? Under natural selection? No. This is what Darwin couldn't understand. So this is what Darwin's sexual selection theory is. This will be the last thing. That the secondary sexual characteristic let's make it clear. Primary sexual characteristic is the actual organ. You either got a vagina, you got a cloaca, you got a penis, you got whatever, right? Those are primary. There's always male primary, there's always female primary. These are what you call secondary characteristic. You know, the hair on the face, the hair on the chest, the big puffy tail and everything. So, Darwin's sexual selection theory states that the secondary sexual characteristics. So these are like the tails, the calls. I haven't talked about calls. So many male birds call, dance, and do all kinds of stuff, which I'll show you later. And all of that is extremely risky because you're attracting predator. Just like the male cricket, right? Does a male cricket sing? Yes. Does it attract predator? Absolutely. So many birds don't have to necessarily the tail feather, but they call, they go, and they dance, you know, YMCA. So all of that attracts predator. You're in a leafy jungle and you see something going like this and going like, hello, 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 hello. Everybody's going like, oh, something to eat. So all of these are secondary sexual characteristic calls. Evolve to attract females despite being positively detrimental to male survival. Does that make sense? Why? So this is why sexual selection is different from natural selection. The males are at a huge cost all the time. They look very unusual in the forest. They look unusual in the ocean. They make a lot of noise that attract all kinds of stuff. They swim around and do all kinds of dances and swimming. There are all kinds of male fish that do all kinds of dances that attract bigger fish that eat it. They do all of that at a huge, huge cost of death. Remember, food, sex, and death. So they're doing this because why? I want it. Because that, all these craziness, all this cost is a proxy for good immune system, good health, good foraging, very likely good parental care, avoiding predators, avoiding bad mutation, avoiding all that kind of stuff. Yes? Everybody get it? Yes? So females, I'm going to end it now. Go out there and take a really close look at your male friends. We will continue next week. Oh, I forgot to tell you, wait! The exam is on October 2nd, Wednesday.
So like 2 weeks later, right?
Yeah,
Oh, shit.